Without any further ado, I shall give you this little lesson on Da Vinci. It took me 4 years to crack this alleged code within Da Vinci's work. It's actually a scientific code, and it took me, that time, approximately 4 years to unite the science, the actual science. I didn't go with all the occult stuff. I thought, he's a scientist, so let's stick to the science. The rest seems to be a distraction. Okay, so Lisa. Who was Lisa? That is the question. And who is the Lisa we see here today in this painting? Is it the same Lisa that originally sparked this inspiration, or the beginnings? Now there were other Mona Lisas painted, we have those as well. This particular one, Da Vinci kept right up to the end of his life, and we see him perfecting something within this particular Mona Lisa, if that helps you understand the whole premise of the painting. Now, there is science, actual hard science encoded in the Mona Lisa, and it's only till recently, I guess, that we have a scientific study that can explain this. Now, the science relates to that of perception, and since I've been doing a bit of research on perception, or finding descriptions more so, this particular area of Da Vinci's work popped up in relation. Highly relevant. Okay, so we have the original Lisa, and we also have this as a continued construction, as it were. Now, Da Vinci has used models, including himself. We know the facial structure, they've done the mathematical alignments on the face. Certain points relate to Da Vinci's own face, so that's one structure he's used in the construction, and some suggests his own mother as well. I think her name also means joyous one, like Lisa Giocondo, which is an interesting coincidence. So he's got 3 models straight up. He's got Lisa, the original. He's got himself and his mother. It's not strange for artists to use models. But what he's doing here is encoding something that he experienced during his interaction with the original Lisa. Deja vu, it seems, as described by modern scientists, as a certain memory phenomena. Now, exactly what part of the memory, what part of the mind? Well, the modern research describes it as this. It's the similarity between any two scenes. Say you get deja vu walking into a new place you've never been. It's the same structure, of some other place, some other scene that you have in your mind already that triggers this familiarity that's called deja vu. Now, Da Vinci was encoding a very special kind of memory, something genetic. Now, he wanted to encode. Now, this is a science encoded. He's obviously onto this science that only modern day science has begun to explain. So this is hundreds of years. So just let that sink in. Okay, now that that's sunk in, let's draw some other conclusions. Okay, we're obviously dealing with a genius here who's encoded a perceptual science. Now, what other kind of science? Let's see. Okay, so he's used these kind of structures to show a genetic memory and also a flaw in perception. Now, this is obviously he's relating this to some unused or non-usable older part of his genetic memory. What he's saying is the trigger was false. And he's saying what has caused this? Something, there's a genetic relationship between human beings, mate selection, whatever. So, how else does Leonardo perceive the world? There should be another. We should be able to find another example if he's using this type of encryption, perception, connected to reality, the physical world, and things like that. So, if we examine another painting, the version of the rocks on the rocks. Okay, now Da Vinci was reprimanded for painting such a painting. There's two of these. There's a technique he liked to use called sfumato, and the word means to dull down. He liked to paint these gloomy kind of paintings. And this one was so dark and gloomy that the church told him to paint another one. Much more warming scene, as we can see here. Now the reason for this more gloomy style that he developed to describe reality, he believed it to be in a state of degradation, genetically especially. Did reflect in the world around the characters he painted, but as you can see, they're all pale here, even quite vampiric. Yeah, he did use an interesting encoding. It's like spot the difference with these two. And when you start to understand the techniques, you can see what's been encoded there. And it's not also, he sees it, genetics in a state of degradation due to something missing. It's a whole genetic code in this. It's not all this weird occult stuff. There is actually a science, a hard science, and it is unified. Oh, okay, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, okay. As a scientist, there is science, and when we're looking at this artistic technique of sfumato, it blends everything together. That is to say, it's like the surface of an object or a character slightly blends with the rest. It's got a soft kind of appeal to it. When Da Vinci writes about the eye and the way its perspective, and the way it sees, he also talks about limitations in perception, how all things in reality are connected, and it is the fault of the eye that sees the surface of things as the limitation. And this also comes into this technique that is used of sfumato, which shows, as I've just suggested, the interconnectedness of all things beyond the limitations of the surface, as well as the degradation, and I believe not just due to natural entropy and its effect on all things. There's something specific he wants to show in the genetic code, and he wants to show its connections with the external world in reality. This will eventually, I believe, solve the mind-body problem as well. Once again, connection to perception to reality, perception to reality, and the loop, the flaws in our perception. Been researching Donald Hoffman, any sort of perceptual flaws and the war of interfaces in reality, things like that. Go to him, simplifies it. If you want to look at stuff on deja vu, Anne Cleary, I think she's got some TEDx talks and she'd have some articles on the internet. But I'm showing you this now because you already know it, you just don't know it. In the case of deja vu, even Michio Kaku's he's getting little visions. Maybe 6 years ago now, he realized that deja vu is connected to strange things like other realities and stuff like that. Okay, we're getting into some deep dive and stuff. It's pretty cool. Hope you can keep up. There's a lot in Da Vinci's work you haven't figured out yet. So, get studying.